fighting for the values that make Nebraska the good life. This is Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald on 1499.3 KLIN.
Well, the time has come, my friends. The time has come for my last Drive Time Nebraska show on KLIN. Not necessarily the last Drive Time Nebraska show, but at least for the time being right now on the station at this time. You know, I've thought long and hard about what I'd like to say. And the nice thing is, you know, I announced it about, a week and a half or so ago. So we've been able to just kind of nice, easy ride this through. I'm still going to be around. Speed dial, boss lady has me on speed dial, so for filling in and that type of thing. So I'll be kicking around a little bit. And who knows, down the road, more collaboration with KLIN. I love the station. I just answer these questions right up front. I haven't been asked to leave. I'm not disgruntled in any way. Neither is the staff here or the management. No political officials have pressured me to step out. I've had those questions as well. So no, it's just a personal thing that I have had to make a decision for myself. I'll dig into that a little bit. So I thought about, what do I want to say today? And what would you say? This is your last day here, at least in this capacity. Here's the reality. I didn't see this day coming like it did. I had plans of growing the show into a syndicated show across the state of Nebraska. That was the plan. And even obviously we've been touching the rest of the United States, which has been pretty cool. People on social media and texting in and all. But that's not the plan that God had for me, at least for right now. And through some long and agonizing days and nights, I came to the conclusion that I just needed to make a change. The last couple months, if I am totally transparent, which you know me, they've been a difficult road, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, being refined by my Creator. And when you're being refined and pruned, it's not always the most pleasant thing in the world, but it's a good thing. And now that I'm on the other side of it, I truly understand and see the good in all that He has for me through it. Ultimately, here's the thing. In the end, the only thing that truly matters in life, right, are the relationships and how we positively use the opportunities that we're given to impact the world and the lives around us. All that God allows us to serve with our God, with our family, with their friends, and all those that God allows us to cross paths with. I again want to thank all the people at Broadcast House who've been part of my life for years and will continue to be. Broadcast House General Manager Amy Graham gave me the opportunity to do this. Operations Manager Steve King entrusted me with this opportunity. I appreciate that. Wyatt, my producer, number 8. Thank you so much. I mean, he has not only grown so much, but this dude is the best producer I've had. And so he does a tremendous job. I'm looking forward to see what he has going on in his future. Obviously work with Chase Porter in the newsroom, Chris Lofgren with traffic on a daily basis. Then I've had the chance to also work with Jack Mitchell and former news director Caleb Henry, Nate Rohr. I got to work with him a couple days ago with the announcement of John Cook. Mark Vale, he's been my mentor in many ways, so I appreciate what he's done. Tom Stanton. So it's just been really fun. The sales team, production team, everybody here. So, I'll still be around filling in, who knows, possibly collaborating in different things down the road. And I'll announce some more things that I'm going to be doing towards the end of the show. So today I want to finish this show the way I started this show, with a call for each of us to fight for the values that make Nebraska the good life, so that our kids and grandkids will have a future that's better off than it is right now, in my opinion. So I'm going to be playing the very first clip I ever played on this show back on April 8th of 2024, a clip from Paul Harvey, where in 1965, Wyatt, you're not going to believe this. Have you heard this from Paul Harvey? Do you know who Paul Harvey is, by the way? He's like, nope, I don't know who he is. He literally foretold with eerie accuracy what is happening in our culture today. So we'll play that. I'm going to share a little bit about my future plans. I'm going to continue to be a watchman for a segment for you in our city with the warning about the leaders in our city and the impact that they're having on our day-to-day lives, which ultimately impact our kids and grandkids. I'll be talking about the mayor, some things I found out yesterday that are very disappointing. So I'm going to do that in a segment. And then finally, I'm going to share a story, a very powerful story of hope and encouragement that hopefully will give you some practical tips and an example of how each of us can continue to fight with each other in a very effective way. So what I want you to do is, if you want to know more about what I'm doing in the future, just follow me on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. I've got all those links in the podcast description, also in the social media description as well. We'll be carrying on the show in some capacity because we want to impact this state for the values that make us the good life. Hey, call or text in. Last time, love to hear from somebody on the Summit Lawn Talk and Text line at 402-479-1400. Again, thank you so much for tuning in to Drive Time Nebraska. We'll be back after this.
Want today's top news stories? Top Husker stories? You can get them sent straight to your inbox every afternoon. Just sign up for the Daily for free at KLIN.com.
Get started on your next adventure at Woodhouse GMC. No matter where you're headed, we've got a ride built for the journey. Save up to $7,000 off MSRP on the 2024 Yukon SLT 4x4. Shop in-store or online at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. Woodhouse Buick GMC. We are professional grade. With approved credit, $299 doc fee due at signing. Offer applies to select stock numbers. Must trade a 2011 or newer vehicle to qualify. Stock number V241263. Offer expires 1/31/2025. See dealer for details.
Identity Theft Awareness Week is here. There's a victim of identity theft every 3 seconds. 3 seconds. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second and will fix identity theft guaranteed or your money back. Plus, plans include the $1 million protection package with up to $3 million in coverage for the most comprehensive plan. Take control of your identity with LifeLock. Save up to 40% off your first year with my name, Clay, as the promo code at lifelock.com. Terms apply.
You're listening to Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald. Disagree with Doug? The guests? The topic? Call or text 402-479-1400 now to be a part of the show. KLIN weather brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Mainly clear and cool this evening with the temperature dropping into the low 30s by midnight. After midnight, mostly clear to partly cloudy with a low in the upper 20s. Saturday, partly to mostly cloudy and breezy with a 20% chance of rain, high in the low 50s. From the 1011 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Brandon Rector.
KLIN Time Saver Traffic, delivered by Paisanos, Lincoln's best brick oven pizza.
On the downhill side of our drive time traffic, no accidents or major delays. Most everyone doing a great job. A few volume slowdowns, and we do have a few construction projects. We'll want to watch for lane shifts and lane closures. Keep in mind, South 56 does run slow from South Street to Normal to Calvert Street with lane restrictions for a major utility project. If you come across anything that slows you down, call the traffic hotline, 402-479-1414. Lincoln's listening to Time Saver Traffic.
Raising the roof on the issues that truly matter to Nebraskans, with the occasional net violation. You're listening to Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald on 1499.3 KLIN.
Jeremy, thanks for texting. I appreciate that. Deb, thank you as well. Also, Big Daddy on social media. Thanks for your text. We appreciate that. All right. Well, yesterday we had a great show and a great conversation with Senator Deb Fischer. I could talk to her a whole show. So someday I'm going to do that and get her on and try to see if I can get like an hour, because she's got so much information, and she is one of, really, if you think about it, one of the most powerful women in Washington, D.C. And she's right here from Nebraska. She shared about border security yesterday, deportations, Trump's executive order on E-15, and much more. So go back and listen to the podcast of that at KLIN.com. Then separately from that, and I know we had social media posts and podcast posts that went out and made it look like the mayor or the senator was ranting against the mayor. She wasn't. I was. So I dug further into the shenanigans going on with the Lancaster County Commissioners and the mayor's tax increase fear-mongering. We're going to touch on that in the next segment. So again, if you missed it, go to KLIN.com for the podcast or check it out on your favorite podcast service. Well, for 7 months leading up to the day of Drive Time Nebraska, I spoke with hundreds of people in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. And what I learned is that us kids of the 70s, 80s, and 90s, you know, we're pretty nice. We didn't want to rock the cultural boat too much. But now that we've got grown kids, we have grandkids, you know, we've kind of taken our head out of the sand a little bit, and we're like really frustrated with what's going on with the culture, how it's changed, how it's negatively impacting our kids and grandkids' future. And so many people that I talked to, I don't think there was ever anyone who didn't have a concern about that. You know, we need to feel like we need to stand up for something. We need to make a difference. That's why I created Drive Time Nebraska, to be a voice, an outlet, information source for those wanting to make a difference, or those who are just too afraid to speak up for themselves and not knowing what to do. You know, we addressed difficult cultural issues on the show, impact, how it's impacted our younger generation, future generations, all kinds of stuff, right? But ultimately, we wanted to look through the lens of what makes Nebraska the good life. Fear of God, love of family, caring for our neighbors, hard work, honesty, pride in our state. We discussed key local, state, and national issues that people are talking about and that personally impact them. Lately, it's been politics because ultimately, when you think about it, in our day-to-day lives, the political world impacts us. You know, I remember talking to Governor Pillin, and I know his love and his focus for what he does is how it's going to impact our kids and grandkids for the future. I often ask the questions of our guest, no matter where you stand on an issue, is this what's best for our kids and grandkids? Let me share this disclaimer before I move forward. I am a person of faith. I was a pastor for 13 years. I love Jesus Christ. I follow him alone. Now, I'm not here to push my faith on you. That's not my point. But I do want you to know where I'm coming from. And I think, and I know the people that have called in, whether they've agreed with me or not, disagree with me, we do have a mutual respect. And I'm proud of that. And I think you'll agree, no matter where you stand faith-wise, I think you're going to agree with what I'm about to play. I started the very first show playing the clip from Paul Harvey. Maybe you've heard this, maybe you haven't. Paul Harvey was an incredible radio guy back when I was growing up. He had a series called The Rest of the Story. It was awesome. Loved listening to Paul Harvey. He was one of those iconic guys, right? That you, if you're going to be in radio, you wanted to be like Case Kasem, like I did. Well, in 1965, he made a prediction, and he did one of his radio clips that literally has come true today. It's eerie that he did this in 1965. And it relates directly to what I'm going to talk about here. All right. So here is Paul Harvey. If I were the devil.
If I were the devil. If I were the devil. If I were the prince of darkness, I'd want to engulf the whole world in darkness. And I'd have a third of its real estate and 4/5 of its population, but I wouldn't be happy until I had seized the ripest apple on the tree. So I'd set about, however necessary, to take over the United States. I'd subvert the churches first. I'd begin with a campaign of whispers. With the wisdom of a serpent, I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve, do as you please. To the young, I would whisper that the Bible is a myth. I would convince them that man created God instead of the other way around. I would confide that what's bad is good and what's good is square. And the old I would teach to pray after me, Our Father, which art in Washington. And then I'd get organized. I'd educate authors in how to make lurid literature exciting so that anything else would appear dull and uninteresting. I'd threaten TV with dirtier movies and vice versa. I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd sell alcohol to ladies and gentlemen of distinction. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills. If I were the devil, I'd soon have families at war with themselves, churches at war with themselves, and nations at war with themselves, until each in its turn was consumed. And with promises of higher ratings, I'd have mesmerizing media fanning the flames. If I were the devil, I would encourage schools to refine young intellects, but neglect to discipline emotions. Just let those run wild. Until before you knew it, you'd have to have drug-sniffing dogs and metal detectors at every schoolhouse door. Within a decade, I'd have prisons overflowing. I'd have judges promoting pornography. Soon I could evict God from the courthouse, then from the schoolhouse, and then from the houses of Congress. And in his own churches, I would substitute psychology for religion and deify science. I would lure priests and pastors into misusing boys and girls and church money. If I were the devil, I'd make the symbol of Easter an egg and the symbol of Christmas a bottle. If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who wanted until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious. And what'll you bet? I couldn't get whole states to promote gambling as the way to get rich. I would caution against extremes in hard work, in patriotism, in moral conduct. I would convince the young that marriage is old-fashioned, that swinging is more fun, that what you see on TV is the way to be. And thus I could undress you in public, and I could lure you into bed with diseases for which there is no cure. In other words, if I were the devil, I'd just keep right on doing what he's doing.
Paul Harvey. Good day.
Well, I think we can all agree that over the past 60 years, our world, our culture has changed. Some things for the better, some things for the worst. One thing I know, I don't have all the answers. I definitely have an opinion, and that's one thing the show has allowed me to do, is to realize that I have to stand up when I have an opinion. We all do. But I'm going to continue to seek and learn from those who I agree with and those that I don't. I sought to learn from both sides with the show on issues, have a raw, transparent, and challenging conversation with people, to try to understand both sides, and then provide a forum for action to make a difference. And if we didn't agree, no problem. Richard just texted in, said he enjoyed the show, right? Richard and I, we would agree and not agree on some things. I appreciate that. By the way, Rickhouse Chris, thank you. Grady, thanks for texting in. Kindle, appreciate your comments. To me, Drive Time Nebraska was not a time slot to fill, but an experience to share. Bottom line, when we have some things going on in our culture and throughout the political field that are very dangerous for us, for our families, our kids and grandkids and our neighbors, we need to do something. I believe that with all my being, we live in a spiritual world. And we are fighting a spiritual battle. And if we do not recognize that and learn to navigate through life in a spiritually healthy way, then we're playing right into the hands of the devil. And the very thing that the devil wants more than anything, the thing that makes his life easier, is apathy and inaction. Be apathetic. Don't take action. Doesn't need to do anything then. Friends, we need to stand up. We must stand up. If we don't, our culture and the way of life will continue to destroy every aspect of our lives. There is a battle to destroy the nuclear family, to take away men and women, moms and dads, husbands and wives from their kids. to lie to our kids that you can be any gender you want to be. It's not true. You can be your own God. It's not true. Here's the thing. It's not healthy. It's not good for you. I've always wanted to dig into this one thing. Now I'm going to go down a little rabbit hole. Think about this for a second. What if, just what if, play with me here. What if, in a perfect world, men and women chose one partner, one husband or one wife, and they had a family, and they stayed together, and they treated each other well, and they lived their life till they died together? How would that change our world? No sexual diseases, no divorce to destroy relationships and kids' lives. Think about the finances that would be saved. Think of how we'd respect people, and we wouldn't have need for mental health, or at least as much of need for mental health. The list goes on and on and on. What if God made man and woman, and he made them to be together, to be married to each other for life in a perfect world? I think Paul Harvey nailed it, right? In other words, like he said, if I were the devil, I'd just keep doing what I'm doing. The question is, do you want that to happen? If you're like me, we can't. We've got to make a stand. We cannot let this continue to be deceived and allow those that we love to be deceived. We have to have courage to stand up. We have to have courage to fight in what we believe in. We need to bring awareness and shine the light in the darkness of this world. That's been my hope of what we've done with the show. And I hope that you'll carry that on. For comments that I've seen that say I am not inclusive in that I'm telling people what to think, I'm giving you my opinion. But what I hope that you've seen is I simply am shining light on things that just aren't right. One of those areas of darkness that's in our world, and we have to realize this, that the light needs to be shined on, is in the world of politics. There's no denying on both sides that we both agree that there is a problem with politics. I have not heard anybody who has not been disgruntled or frustrated with politics, no matter where you stand. But politics is a tool being used by some to gain power and control for themselves, not to truly serve those who have entrusted them with their position to manage their money and their day-to-day lives. The devil uses that. I have beat the drum over and over and over, and I will continue to. Coming up next, I'm going to shine a light on what is happening in our city from some information I found out yesterday. And you can tell me if this is a good thing or not. I won't dig too much into it because I've already kind of shined some light a little bit on it. And then later in the show, I'm going to share a story, a very powerful story, if we've got time, of hope and encouragement, just an example of how you continue to fight for each other and for what is right. All right, follow me on social media posts. You got posts and links in the comment section of both the podcast and the social media page as well. Call or text in. I'd appreciate that. I appreciate it. Everybody, Art, thank you so much. James, I appreciate it. Mark, thanks for your kind words. Appreciate that as well. 402-479-1400. Cities from across the state and the country listening to Drive Time Nebraska.
bringing you the news that shapes your world.
The topics that matter to me.
1499.3 KLIN.
Your Nebraska lottery has given $1 billion back to our state since 1993. That's billion with a B. It's all part of helping build a better Nebraska.
Ready to tackle your next project? Discover the power of Master Force tools today. From high-performance power tools to rugged hand tools and much more in between, Master Force delivers the reliability you need to tackle the toughest projects. Join countless customers who trust Master Force for its quality and performance, and pick up a new tool today. Master Force. Power, performance, durability. Only at Menards.
Does your business need quick, competitive financing for heavy machinery, trucks, or other equipment? Currency is here to help. Whether you're financing construction equipment, farm equipment, trucks, trailers, or any other big-ticket item, Currency will automatically find the best rates. Currency facilitates loans for up to $500,000 with repayment terms up to 72 months. It's fast, easy, and free to use. Visit gocurrency.com and apply today. You're listening to Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald. More of the show coming up on 1499.3 KLIN. KLIN weather brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Mainly clear and cool this evening with the temperature dropping into the low 30s by midnight. After midnight, mostly clear to partly cloudy with a low in the upper 20s. Saturday, partly to mostly cloudy and breezy with a 20% chance of rain, high in the low 50s. From the 1011 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Brandon Rector.
KLIN Time Saver Traffic, delivered by Paisanos, Lincoln's best brick oven pizza.
Wrapping up our traffic reports, no new accidents or major delays. Most traffic moving well and getting back to normal. Everybody gets a gold star. We do have a few construction projects. We'll want to watch for lane shifts and lane closures, a few volume slowdowns as well. And something to keep in mind with our temperatures well above normal, the increased potential for ice jams, mainly in the Elkhorn and Platte River basins. If the ice jams develop, the river may rise quickly and minor flooding could occur. Make sure the headlights are on. Keep it moving with Time Saver Traffic. I'm Chris Lofgren.
Tackling the issues that truly matter to Nebraskans head on. With the occasional targeting call, this is Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald on 1499.3 KLIN.
Chris Lofgren just said minor flooding, and we're like going, what? Did we miss something here?
Listen, I know we've talked a lot about marijuana on this show, but I figured for a good last show, I want what he's smoking because...
Oh, boy. All right. Well, I need to get updated. I guess I'm out of the picture on that one. Mary, thanks so much for your text. She really appreciated the whole Paul Harvey piece. Very powerful. Always enjoyed the show. God's blessing on your new adventure. Thank you. Sam, thank you for your posts. Best wishes. James, Jeremy texting in. Let me read this here. I have four boys, 16, 14, 10, and 7. I agree with you 100%. My wife and I have been married 18 years. Hasn't always been easy. Interested to see what you are doing next, following you on Twitter. Maybe if I'm lucky, I could meet you sometime. Absolutely. I'm just a guy. I had somebody call in yesterday. He's like, oh, I can't believe I'm talking to you. I'm like, I'm just a dude. I'm not anything special. And my wife and I have been married 35 years. And yeah, we've had our ups and downs as well. Trust me, it's not always easy. But all right, Lincoln Coin and Bullion, I love and appreciate what they've done. They sponsor me for years now, both on One Shot, One Life, my nationally syndicated show, and also on Drive Time Nebraska. Pat and the crew, thank you so much. Go check them out. If you're looking at buying gold, silver, platinum, palladium, go there. You can also see me too if you're there too. So I'm COO there. I help them with the operations and all that. So got studios and production studios right next door to them. So anyway, LincolnCoinandBullion.com is the website. Check them out. 402-327-2853. I love them. I've been buying from them for nearly 15 years. All right. We've got people calling in. So let's get to Richard on line 1. Richard, thank you so much for holding there for a couple of minutes. I appreciate that. What are your thoughts today?
Well, we had some discussion about the funding for streets, the extension of the 0.25% sales tax. And a question came up, where's our money from the wheel tax going? And I dug into that a little bit. There is, on the city website, there's a breakdown of that. And it's interesting that the wheel tax doesn't go necessarily to repair streets or build new streets. It's also used for trails. It's, excuse me, it's used for traffic signals. It's used for long-range planning for the street system. And so only about half of the wheel tax actually goes to street repair and street construction. And I thought that was a rather interesting thing.
It is. Richard, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I found out yesterday as well. It's so interesting that you brought that up. So no, it's true. So I appreciate that. But anyway, Richard, thank you so much for being a good friend of the show. I appreciate it so much, and all the information you're providing. It's I just deeply appreciate it.
Well, and I wish you the best in the future. You have some valuable insights, and you won't be sharing them on Drive Time Nebraska, but hopefully you'll still let us hear from you from time to time and let us know what you're seeing.
Absolutely. Richard, thank you so much. God bless, my friend.
Bye.
All right. We've got Bill on line 2. Let's get to Bill before I dig more into this mayor's tax, because I've got some information from yesterday. So, Bill, you've been waiting patiently. Thank you so much. What's on your mind?
Well, Doug, for one thing, I am going to miss you greatly on fighting for these issues to make Nebraska the good one, because we've got real serious issues. I have not heard from the solar panel people, and I haven't heard anybody who has filed a petition to recall these 3 county commissioners. And people, you have to take action or you're going to get run over. You talk about politics as taking over this country. The reason we can't take care of prison reform in this state, we have the worst prison system in the country. Property taxes cannot be fixed because of the power of the lobbyists in that state capital and in other county commissioners and everything. These paid interests, record millions of dollars, are paid for the lobbyists in there. And the senators that's who write the bills, who make the decisions for these senators. It's sickening if the citizen would go in there and look at it.
Well, Bill, thank you for your work at the legislature. I appreciate it. Thank you. This is not the last time you'll hear from me, and stay in touch with me.
Keep in touch with,
Yes.
You keep in touch. I'm not on social media, but I'm going to probably have to file this petition to recall these 3 county commissioners myself here soon.
All right. Well, we'll dig into that. So thanks so much, Bill.
Get in touch.
You bet. Doug at KLIN.com, Doug at KLIN.com. If you want to email me, please. I've got people emailing me all day. So if you want to stay in touch with what we're doing. I'm trying to navigate our time here. We needed a half hour extra today, Wyatt. That would have been awesome. Well, let's just go back to the mayor. I'm going to run with this for a little bit. You've heard me rant on this a little bit in regards to she wants to raise your taxes. The Lincoln on the Move quarter-cent sales tax ends in September. She wants the city council to approve to get it on the primary on April 8th to re-raise your taxes 0.25% for 8 more years. And I say no. And I went through a whole list of how we got 10. I think I came up with 10 ways to use other funds rather than to keep taxing us, which is ridiculous. That Lincoln on the Move has brought in $18 million-ish a year. But she wants the city council, and she's like fear-mongering, like the way of our life is going to be destroyed, and we're going to have congestion and future costs and higher street repairs, and it's going to be a severe blow, quote, it's going to be a severe blow to our community's momentum and quality of life. That's just a bunch of baloney. Talked to somebody today who just said, I get so frustrated I have to find different ways to drive to work because I hit potholes all the time. Okay, so I went through a whole litany of ways. You can listen to former shows on the podcast, all right? The city could cut the budget 5%. That's $18 million is 5% of the $350 total budget. When there's excess funds that you're not spending, give them back. Last year there were 16 million. There you go. There's 16 million right there. Gambling tax, that's discretionary. How about you put it towards the streets rather than just choose on anything else? Wheel taxes, we just talked about that a little bit. Millions and millions and millions of dollars. Fuel taxes, millions and millions of dollars. Then this federal grant comes in that was part of this tax that she wants, but she's like, hey, we got a federal grant too, 66 million, more money. And actually, that's our tax money anyway. Impact fees. Then I found out yesterday, the city of Lincoln has $70 million of cash on hand. $70 million of cash on hand. Huh. Let's keep going. City of Lincoln has Community Health Permanent Endowment Fund. $74 million, nearly $75 million. The city is flush with cash. Flush with cash. Now, let me get to this. This is where I'm going to get to, is this the right thing? Because these are things other hosts in the city, other reporters in the city, these are things that need light shined upon. Because it's not right. Part of the amendment that the city council is going to vote on to decide if they're going to add this to the ballot. This is in the fact sheet, in the report. If you go online, go to the city council, pull up the fact sheet from the meeting. Quote, to ensure that Lincoln residents understand the issues surrounding needed street improvements, the options for funding them, and the costs associated with those improvements, the city will engage in a robust community education and engagement effort, including, listen close to this, my friends, and tell me if this is right. You tell me if this is right. Other hosts, radio hosts, TV hosts, reporters, you tell me if this is right. The city will engage in a robust community education and engagement effort, including hiring a professional consultant, Bullhorn Communications, at a cost of $248,396. They're going to start, if this goes on the ballot, an ad campaign. Where's that money going to come from? It's going to come from you and me. The city is funded by taxes and rent and parking tickets and whatever else. Is that right? That's all I'm asking. We're shining a light on it. I'm not telling you what to think. I'm saying, is it right? Don't tell me that I'm telling you what to think. I'm trying to shine a light on this crap. I didn't think I was going to get this frustrated for the last show, but I am. Richard and Bill got me going. Did you hear what I just said? I'm not going to let this one go. The city will engage in if the city council, which it will, Tom Duden's the only one that's going to vote against it. I guarantee it. Well, I don't guarantee. I'm not going to guarantee that, but I'm assuming he will. Love that guy. Only one on the council that has any common sense, in my opinion. But the city's, if it gets on the ballot, the city's going to engage in a marketing campaign at $250,000 almost of your money and my money to convince you to vote for your own tax increase. How is that right? How is that right? They tax you already in all kinds of ways to get money. Property taxes, wheel taxes, sales taxes, gas tax. And then we're going to use that money to create a campaign to convince you to vote for more taxes. It's not right. All right, I got to take a break. Take a breath and a break. Wyatt says, calm down a little bit. My iWatch is going off the hooks, like your blood pressure's out of whack. I wasn't going to do this, but hey, you know what? We'll talk about the commissioners coming up next. Thanks for listening to Drive Time Nebraska.
From the skies to the streets, get the latest weather and traffic.
Always accurate coverage.
1499.3 KLIN. You're listening to Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald. Sports Nightly is next on 1499.3 KLIN.
Every child deserves a mentor. Teammates Mentoring of Lincoln believes in the power of one-on-one relationships to build hope. Be the support you needed when you were young. Give a student the gift of time, friendship, and trust. Be there to simply listen, encourage, and focus on their strengths. Commit to spending 1 hour per week with a student who needs you. Make a difference in a child's life and become a mentor with Teammates. Together, we can create a stronger community. Visit LincolnTeammates.org to learn more.
You know, Ryan, when it comes to small town USA, it doesn't get much more small town than Eustis, Nebraska.
Todd Spidell, former body shop owner, terrible driver.
That's right, Todd. It is truly a small town with right around 400 people.
I'm so excited that we're driving to Eustis to see the original Eustis Body Shop.
Doug opened that shop way back in 1979, and while we've now grown to 8 shops in Nebraska, I think the Eustis name helps us stay grounded in our small town values and focus on doing what's right for our customers and our employees. Hey, we're getting pretty close to town.
That makes sense. Sometimes the large multi-shop operators with hundreds of locations start to lose track of the value of their employees and who their customers are. And
hey, you just drove through Eustis.
What? Uh-oh. I'll turn around. Good thing there's a Eustis Body Shop close by.
Accidents happen, even to good drivers. If it happens to you, call Eustis Body Shop. Your best decision after a collision.
The most recommended Eustis Body Shop. That's who we are.
You're listening to Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald. More of the show coming up on 1499.3 KLIN. KLIN weather brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Mainly clear and cool this evening with the temperature dropping into the low 30s by midnight. After midnight, mostly clear to partly cloudy with a low in the upper 20s. Saturday, partly to mostly cloudy and breezy with a 20% chance of rain, high in the low 50s. From the 1011 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Brandon Rector.
Draining threes on the issues that truly matter to Nebraskans, with the occasional technical or two. This is Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald on 1499.3 KLIN.
Well, this is a little unexpected. This is probably a voice you are not used to hearing. For those of you who don't know, my name is Wyatt. I'm the producer of the show. And the reason I'm on the mic is, one, I didn't want to hear Doug rant about property taxes or some BS for the millionth time during his last segment. Because that's Doug. He loves to ramble. And I figured his last segment of Drive Time Nebraska, he should not have to go out on something like that. So with these, last few minutes that we are sharing, I really wanted to take this last segment, and I wanted Doug to take this segment. And this is the reason I wanted to take over, because I did not want this man to rant about anything else but the impact that he's had on. Because that's truly what he's done on Drive Time Nebraska. And I did not want him to go out on a sour note. So before I give you the mic, Doug, I want to say real quick that I'm so happy to be your producer for the show. I think I speak for the rest of us at KLIN that these last few months have just been an amazing time. And to see the impact that you've had, not only at the local level, but on this country, I would even argue. Because you influenced so many people's decisions, I would say, to the local county commissioners elections. You taught everyone about the political trifecta, which I still don't know, by the way. You educated us on the 3 things that we all love: porn, weed, and pink slips. I'm putting that on a t-shirt, by the way. But you truly made a difference with one of the most influential, I would say, time slots in Nebraska. Because like you've said before, so many amazing people have come before you in this slot. And to see the impact you've had on these last few months, and we saw it full effect January 20th in that green dress right up front stage. And that was because of you. I truly believe that big to small in this country, you have done so much in these 8 past months. And I'm thankful that you stuck with number 8, speaking on that number. And And I'm glad you gave me a shot because this was my first gig coming to KLIN and Broadcast House. So I'm thankful to be stuck with you in this room every day for the last few months during the 5 o'clock hour. And I speak from not only me, Chase, everyone up top at Broadcast House, but for the state of Nebraska. Thank you, Doug Fitzgerald, for all you've done for us.
Well, Wyatt, thank you. I appreciate that. That meant a lot. I was not expecting that. He literally had my mic off. I literally was hostage for the first time on the show.
I wanted to do that a lot. Every time you talk about property tax, I'm so tempted just to press that off button.
Well, I appreciate that. No, I do want to end on a what I intended to end with, and I'm going to try to abbreviate this. So Wyatt, thank you. I appreciate that. That was way too much. I'm not that influential, but I'm passionate about this. I was going to play this, but we don't have time. Franklin Graham, when he prayed for President Trump during the inauguration, he mentioned Aaron and Moses and about Aaron lifting Moses' arms up. I have a painting on my office wall it's the story from the Old Testament of Aaron, Moses, and Hur. And Moses is going into battle against the Amalekites. The nation of Israel they're going into battle. And God says, go to the top of the hill there and watch the battle. And have Aaron and raise your hands to me. And if they drop, you're going to lose. But if you keep them up, you're going to win. And Aaron and Hur, he got so tired throughout the day, they held his arms up. Every time that they started to drop, they'd start to lose. But as soon as they held them up, they would win. And that's what Franklin Graham was talking about. I guarantee you this. The top thing I can share with you that I want to encourage you to do if we're going to fight for things that matter, you have to have people around you that will support you along the way. That's what Franklin Graham was talking about. I guarantee you Aaron and Hur cheered with Moses when they won, but I'm sure that when he had to console families that lost people's lives, that they were there with him too, consoling. You need people that are there to cheer you on and pick you up when you fall and laugh with you and cry with you and celebrate your successes and wipe you and pick you up and dust you off when you have had some failures. That's what you need to do in this life. We have to have that. We have to support each other. Find somebody, I call it a multiplier. Find somebody in your life that you can walk alongside and who truly knows you and what you're passionate about and what you want to achieve and vice versa. I had a caller yesterday call in after the show saying, how can I get involved? Find a place to get involved and stay connected with me. Get on social media. Go to doug@klin.com. They're still going to let me keep my email address, I think. So we'll find out what. But stay connected. I'm not done. Future plans for me. Company called Siona, new company we're kicking off. Drive Time Nebraska will continue after a little bit of a break in podcast form. So I'm going to stay active. And who knows? The veil's been pulled back from me. The curtain's been pulled back, and I think that maybe all of us need to step up and maybe run. We need good people in the office, whether it's mayor, city council, school board, county commissioner, the trifecta that impacts our day-to-day lives. So we need people to step up. Who knows? Maybe that'll happen down the road for me as well. So if you want to listen to the podcast of this show or any of the shows for the nearly last year that we've had, go to KLIN.com or your favorite podcast platform. Wyatt, again, thank you so much for being my producer. I deeply appreciate that. I want to leave you with this. This is what's called the priestly blessing in the Old Testament. When you bless this on people, God promises to bless them. So I'm going to leave this with you to close out this segment of my journey. May the Lord bless you and protect you. May the Lord smile on you and be gracious to you. And may the Lord show you his favor and give you his peace. So until next time, God bless you all.
The big guys on the line, they're the backbone of the team.
From the Momo Pizzeria and Ristorante Studios, we are the voice of Lincoln. KLIN Lincoln, KBBK HD3 Lincoln, K257TN Lincoln is 1499.3 KLIN.